Vesta saw a connection between biscuits and courting that I didn't see, and as the Earl Fotheringill was divorced, Vesta thought I should be interested. I was getting the distinct and slightly unpleasant feeling that the Earl thought along the same lines. "We're not here to put on a show," I said. "You've got to give them what they want," she said with a sly look. "Vesta." "Biscuits," she said. She ran a hand through her short hair that was a shade she called champagne. Vesta, a retired home healthcare nurse, had about as much experience in the tourism industry as I did, but she played an important role at these meetings with Lord Fotheringill. She was a buffer. "You'll hurry, won't you?" I asked. "Someone rang just now and asked for you," she said, cinching her pink raincoat up around her thin frame. "He didn't leave a name or a message, but he did sound familiar." She looked at me with fake innocence and a perplexed frown. I felt a dull ache start up in my chest as I sensed my old life as a foxhound and me up a tree. "You'd better get the milk." Vesta answered with a tiny backward wave as she walked away. I stood on the pavement for a moment and viewed our shop-front window as a visitor might. Gold-leaf lettering read, "Tourist Information Centre," and the small space was cut almost in half by a counter. In front of the counter were racks of leaflets touting the many attractions around the estate. A poster of the Abbey ruins hung on the wall, and the counter was awash in promises. "Buy fresh local produce at the Smeaton-under-Lyme Farmers Market, opening in June," and "Celebrate summer solstice in Suffolk." In back of the counter was our work area, which comprised a small table, a computer, a kettle, a fridge barely big enough for a carton of milk, and a loo. I turned the door sign to open and slipped behind the counter to hang up my coat, smoothing my skirt in the process, and patting the embroidered Fotheringill family crest on my cardigan. I pinned on my name tag and checked the mirror to make sure it was straight. Julia Lanchester, it read, although backward to me, Tourist Information Manager. Full-time manager and then some. I worked 6 days a week, which sounded rather Dickensian, but it was necessary, at least here at the beginning, in order to build the village and the entire Fotheringill estate into a destination spot. Angling my head under the light, I looked for the telltale grey hairs amid the dark blonde that Rosie at the hair strands swore she saw. "We could do a lovely highlight," she had said, as my long locks had fallen to the floor. "Take years off you." I had told her I didn't need any years taken off, thank you very much. She had smiled. "Good on you, Julia. No need to hide our age when we turn 40. 37, I had corrected her. "Welcome to Smeaton-under-Lyme," I rehearsed to my mirror image. "Our little corner of Suffolk has so much to offer. Would you like a map of the 5th century Saxon trail?" I might as well say it to myself, as I'd had few real live tourists to say it to. The Earl looked at this new Tourist Information Centre, TIC as we referred to it, as a way of increasing income for the estate, which he hoped to run along the lines of Chatsworth in Derbyshire. He thought it likely there would be another remake of Pride and Prejudice any time now, or at the very least Martin Chuzzlewit, and we should be selected for location shots. The bell tinkled above the door, signalling that it was show time. "Lord Fotheringill, good morning," I said. His lordship rested his bicycle against the wall and took off his helmet and trouser clip. "Now, Julia, please. It's Linus." He wagged a finger at me and smiled as he took a handful of poeticus daffodils from his bike basket. "They're just starting to bloom along the drive. Thorne cut them for me to bring to you. And Miss Widdersham." "How lovely, Linus," I said, taking the flowers and picturing Thorne, his lordship's ancient butler, sent out on such a dangerous solo mission. I busied myself with filling a vase while Linus straightened his bow tie and stood examining a map on the wall that showed the extent of his estate. Lord Fotheringill wore impeccable tweeds and had a neatly trimmed moustache and black hair with a touch of grey at the temples, although some weeks that grey was more noticeable than others. Even without my heels, I towered over him. He really was a dear, but the man was 60 if he was a day, more uncle material than suitor. "Tread carefully, Julia." "I'll just switch the kettle on. Vesta's gone for milk. We've come up with some smashing ideas to attract visitors."